Hi everyone, I'm back as promised with a Divine Feminine reading. If you haven't already watched the Divine Masculine reading, please do. All the main housekeeping messages are in there. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for all of your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your comments, for the emails, everyone who did a reading with me. Thank you so much. I will be getting back to emails around about Wednesday. I've read them all. They touch me to the bottom of my heart. And again, I'm so thankful. Everybody who donated, it means so much that you donate to the channel. It really does help me keep going, and it helps me massively because I'm saving up for a new expensive deck. I don't normally get expensive decks. Very excited to be sharing that one with you when I get it. And also, I put some of the money towards my very special organic clothing project, which I have started. So all of the help that you guys give me, it means so much, honestly. And thanks for your time. Thanks for hanging out. I really hope that you find this reading very helpful too. This is a Divine Feminine reading. I am using a beautiful deck which was given to me by one of you guys, and I absolutely love it. It's a gorgeous deck. It is the Tarot Apocalypsis, and it's absolutely stunning. It's the sort of deck you can just look at forever. It's also a very uncompromising deck. That's the word I'll use. It's all based on gods and goddesses from various different traditions. It's heavily influenced by them, and it's got this massive book as well with it to really explain it well. It's a really rare deck. I've never really seen it everywhere, but it's so gorgeous. But because it deals with gods and goddesses, and they're so high energy, and they're so, if you want to say extreme, because they deal in very exaggerated circumstances in myth, and myths are always exaggerated, and that's how the lessons are very clear to us. And I think for many of us on this journey, it can feel very extreme as well. So it's almost like we're our own mythological characters, and it can be quite confronting to see it staring back at you in the form of imagery like this. But let's see what they have to say. Let's see what the story is today. So it is the Queen of Heaven spread, my very own Queen of Heaven spread, so same as the Divine Masculine one. Please do check out my community post if you haven't read it. It's very important channeled messages. I'm not going to repeat them because, quite frankly, the channeling that came through when I was actually writing that post is perfect. So just go off and read that. And let's carry on with this reading. So Divine Feminine, where are the energies right now in the peak energies of this Lion's Gate that's happening on the 8th of the 8th. You'll be very pleased to see the Sun card. So, either Strength or the Sun always comes out in every single reading that I've been doing recently. And it's here, the right way up. It was upside down in the Divine Masculine reading. There's a couple more parallels, which we'll talk about. Recent past for the Divine Feminine, we've got the 9 of Pentacles. And this is very much the Divine Feminine starting on a journey to come into her own, realizing that she wants to be absolutely fine by herself, absolutely abundant by herself, absolutely financially independent and free. The fact that she's not wearing a top, she's completely free in her feminine being. She's wearing this really flowy sort of skirt thing and has this really elaborate hairstyle and all this jewelry and stuff, and she's very happy there. She's very much very almost celebrating, I want to say, very comfortable in really embracing all her feminine energy, her feminine tendencies, her feminine strengths, her feminine nature is what I want to say, because there's so much nature here with the birds. It's very free, it's very delicate, it's very beautiful. There's someone, I see someone dancing there, and it's very much to do with the strength of the elephant, the intelligence of the elephant, and the wildness of the jaguar as well. There's something quite untamed about that. There's something very powerful, but also light and free and grounded. It's almost like a sign of completion. The Divine Feminine wants to be complete within herself, and that's the journey that she set herself upon. She made that decision, set that intent a while back. And I really do get the sense that it's the right place to be. I'm really seeing this elephant about to sort of do a trumpet, and that's heralding, it's like a blessing. in India, in the Hindu tradition, and this is, funnily enough, this is very based on the Hindu mythology, but the Hinduism that spread to sort of the south, like Indochina in the ancient times. And if you go to temples even today in India, you can get a blessing from the elephants, and that's what I'm being shown. So it's they started a blessed path, a divine path. So, and they listen to their own inner wisdom. So that's all good. Where is the divine feminine right now? Spying. What I get is there's a lot of spying. There is a lot of thinking about union, thinking about the divine masculine, about their counterpart. I'm also getting, I have to say, I told you this was a really uncompromising deck. Some people are fixating, almost thinking too much about if their divine masculine, if their counterpart is in another relationship, they're sort of oh gosh, this is getting a bit mean. This is I'm almost seeing that some people want to, and this is a warning to some of you, if you're trying to manifest some kind of breakup. I'm seeing these crows in my tradition is they are sort of harbingers of, they're symbols of karma, and you don't want to be gathering negative karma, so don't meddle. If you guys are watching and feeling like any kind of negative emotions towards your divine masculines, if they're in other relationships, please do stop that. Please do. And if anyone, if you're getting any advice that's saying manifest this and do that, and I would say this is a warning to some of you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but don't do that. She's pointing at you. Look at her. And if she's pointing at you and she's like, yes, you, I'm talking to you, and you feel a certain pang, you hear the ding, like just cease and desist right now for your own sake is what I'm getting. So that's for a number of you. That's for certain someone, or I don't know who it's for, but that is a very strong message that's coming through. People that are encouraging anyone to meddle too much. It's you're messing with things that you don't really understand, and you're gathering some really not great karma, basically. So more than you bargained for, and yeah, just that's all I'm going to say about it. Everybody else, I'm just seeing that most people, I would say, are really, really trying to, think about it. Really think about how it's going to happen. Some of you are thinking about what you're going to do when you actually have union. You're thinking about the union, really kind of creating a really clear mental picture, a very, very grounded kind of mental image in your head, and really, really playing with it. Really, it's funny because on the other side of things, I see a very much more positive. It's almost like this is what you want to be doing. Don't think about breaking anybody up or manifesting, meddling in things that maybe aren't meant to. It's not wise to meddle in. But if you just think about what you want, focus on what it is that you want to create. I'm seeing something very different here. I'm seeing she's actually kind of like having a lot of fun, and she's almost dancing. It's almost like not reckless abandon, careless abandon though. Like it's like I'm feeling a much more joyful energy, dreamy energy, a joyful energy from it. And that's like the kind of harmless stuff that you want to do. But there is spying. There's definitely a lot of people who are checking up on divine masculine, thinking about what they're doing, trying to connect with them in the 5D and stuff. And also they're just very, very, very much in your thoughts. The union is very much in people's minds at the moment. And you can really feel their presence. That could be in a good way. Hopefully it is for you. You'll feel them in your energy quite a lot. You'll feel like you're together all the time. That's kind of what it's been like for me, which I didn't want for a very long time. But recently I've kind of just been, this is just how it is. And it's you know what, it's actually kind of cool. So I've been enjoying it. But it's very much, for some people, it's going to be distracting is what I'm hearing. It's almost like it's going to take up too much of your energy, too much of your time, and you don't want to be blocked by it, because now I'm seeing a third scenario where she is not walking past this sword representing a thought. So don't get fixated on anything. She's doing a little dance in circles around this sword. you don't want to do that either. So but that's just minor. Do be aware of it. But carry on walking down your path, because don't forget, this is you. This is the intent that was set out. Interestingly enough, as much as this is what's on the mind right now, it's very much about union. There's so much anticipation. Okay, right. So this is another message. God, there's so many messages right now. These two cards. There is so much anticipation right now, because many people are thinking, oh yeah, the Lionsgate's going to happen. And then immediately after that, it's on the 8th of the 8th. This is going to happen. This is going to be us. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm sorry to say it. I wish that I could tell you different, but that's not what I do. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you the story that I see in the cards. And I'm not seeing it right now, because I am seeing delays. I am seeing blocks. I don't even want to say blocks. I'm seeing a little bit of stagnation, a little bit of hang time I'm seeing. This is very similar to the Hanged Man in this card, in this deck especially. And I told you it was kind of, and there it goes, 11-11. I do see it as, it's quite a brutal deck, but there's definitely two sides to every, there's a silver lining to every cloud, and that's what we're going to focus on. This is a rite of passage. This is very much a rite of passage. This guy is not, it's not a punishment that I'm seeing, it's a rite of passage. And can you see how, so for some of you, it's a rite of passage. For some of you, it is going to be a little bit of retribution. It is going to be a bit of karma coming down to roost. Because can you see these two little crows that are flying around there? And they're having a nice little sit down on this post here that this guy's suspended from. And it really does depend. It really does depend on what was happening here, whether it was meddling. Because if it was meddling, this might be retribution. If this was kind of you being joyful, it's going to be you fortifying yourself in this waiting period and using that time to really, really strengthen and really, really prove. It's almost like find your strength, find your determination, and really, really get through what could be seen as a little bit of an ordeal, but a necessity. So I know from doing the readings for you guys last week, when I was doing some personal readings, I know that a lot of people have got, things to really, really get their teeth into, whether that's kind of legal stuff, whether that's, legal stuff on any legal stuff or administrative stuff, I should say. Even for me, I've got like this organic clothing thing. There's so much to sort out because of that. And it's not all fun stuff. Some of it's really, really boring. It could be anything from that to really, really serious kind of, serious things that you have not chosen for yourself consciously. So physical things, anything. It's a time to really, it's a time of discipline. It's a time where you can be disciplined, and either way, it's gonna, if you feel it's like a punishment, it's karma that's being balanced out. If you feel it as a challenge, it's a time to really, really strengthen and steel yourself. So if you feel bound, can you see how there's two swords that are here? It's almost like they're showing the way, and the only way, I'll show you closer. I'm hearing the only way is up. So like I said, there's always a silver lining. It depends on how you see it, what angle you see it on. So make sure, if you listen to this channel, I'm always going to look for the silver lining. That's hopefully why you're here. So, but at the same time, I'm going to tell you how it is too. Advice for you guys, it's 9 of Cups for the Divine Feminine. It's 9 of Cups and the Chariot, and it's a very, very simple meaning. Just go after your dreams. Don't forget, this is what you set off to do. You set off to really get those pentacles. So really make leaps and bounds and changes and strides in your physical world. And that could be anything to do with your physical body, your physical vessel, your money, your income stream, creative aspects. She's a very creative person. She's dancing. And, anything, absolutely anything. I'm hearing travel plans to expand your mind with all the birds, set yourself free, break away from situations. Really, if you've got any conflicts, to win those conflicts and to everything, basically just overcome everything. That's what you wanted to do. Those goals, go after the goals, and you've got to charge ahead. Absolutely charge ahead. This guy, again, he's pointing right ahead. And of course, there is, in this Chariot card here, there is two people. Know that this is what your counterpart wants for you. And they will be there. This is a bit strange. Like, I wasn't expecting this message to come out. They will be there guiding you somehow as well. And there's two people in this card too. It's very much about, and again, I'm hearing there is assistance. This is something that both of you are doing together. So for a big group of you watching this reading, this Lionsgate, don't focus too much on union, which many of you guys are doing right now. And I think this is the message that, you know, tends to happen with a lot of the readers, and not as any kind of criticism. Especially me, I always do try and stress that this is not all about being fixated on the twin flame journey. You guys know I don't like the terms anymore. I don't like saying divine masculine, divine feminine, karmic, blah, 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 twin flame even though I do. It's not that I don't believe in them. That's not why. It's just, it's not good to become too fixated on things. And I don't like it when things become restrictive. Also, it's a twofold thing. It's not all about union. It's also very much about yourself. Because if they're not ready, or if you're not ready, it can't happen. So really start on the foundation. You've got to walk before you can run. And it's not all about union. It's also about, you know, not everyone is meant to be here and just stick into stick to the twin flame community and become a reader and blah, 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 blah. You must also stick to your other passions as well. I've always said it. I will always continue to say it. It's one of those, you know, two or three things that I've always said as long as I've done these readings. And this is very strongly the advice for you as well, Divine Feminine, right now. Go after your dreams, your independent dreams. And that's going to be connected to your counterpart. That's what they are urging you to do very much right now. Just you do you. Don't fixate just because it's the Lionsgate, just because everybody in the community is saying union. It's all about, you know, so much. I'm not saying it's not an important time. It totally is. Just don't expect don't have any expectations. Don't expect a certain outcome. Don't expect to get the outcome you're expecting. And I think many of you who are watching this, you're not. Many of you actually feel justice is not going to happen. Many of you are fearing that the unions, nothing's changing, and it's not gonna balance out, and there's no transformation. On one hand, that's what it is. On another hand, there's so many meanings with this reading. On another hand, you've let go of that sense that yes, it is dead. So it's actually the complete opposite. So there's two groups of people here. There's one group that kind of is still, dare I say, a little bit feeling in lack, feeling in cynicism, feeling like the divine masculine, like there's no faith there. That nothing's changed. There is not going to be any justice. That's probably the group that are going to be meddling out of fear because they don't really trust that the divine union is going to happen. So, you want to watch that basically. So if that tendency is you, see if you can reframe it. See if you can be part of the group that that sense of really judging the divine masculine is gone. That sense of their feelings towards the divine masculine being completely dead is gone. So that group is, ironically enough, that group is feeling a lot more open to the divine masculine because they're not being the judge, jury and execution. They're not being this sharp judgmental justice character. They're not being overly detached like they were. They are not being cold and ghosting their counterparts in the 5D, the 3D, whatever. They're not being cold and dead towards them. That feeling of the relationship being dead, or their heart being totally, their emotions being totally dead and lifeless. That's what's leaving for the other group of people. That's the group of people that are probably thinking about what they do want and how they do want things to be different. They've already experienced the that phase, because I do believe it's a phase, it's a timeline. They've already been where that stage where the justice was, they were the judge, jury, execution, and they were feeling like a bit dead towards their counterpart, but now that's gone and they're actually feeling a new lease of life. So that's really good. And funnily enough, this card, it's usually in the part where the divine feminine's higher self wants to say something, and it's came through very strongly as a message from the divine masculine again, saying, look, I'm on my way and I'm really, really determined, but I'm walking, so I might be a little bit slow. That's what it felt like when it was coming through. And it was very much kind of like, I think many divine feminines know that the divine masculine is coming back and feels a little bit different. It is a Prince of Wands, so it's a knight, not a king yet, but he's the one that's all about movement. Many divine feminines could be feeling a very, a lot of things in the 5D, if you want to call it that, lots of pulls, lots of energetic waves coming through, it's connections from the counterpart. That's a very strong message that I'm getting. And let me draw your eye to this guy again. Can you see how he's holding the staff in his hand and he's walking along and there's a serpent around his ankle? I don't know if you can see, but he's actually speared this serpent with this rod, and he's not even broken his step. He's just carried on walking. He's not even looking at it. He's looking straight ahead. He's got his eye on the prize. I hate to say it because I don't like to associate all of this negativity towards counterparts and stuff, but those of the counterparts who are, and this applies to, okay, I'm hearing that this applies to the divine masculine and the divine feminine, both of them who have karmic, in the negative sense, karmic attachments, whether that's other people or personal addictions. And I'm hearing this is a bit of advice as well. The more you can just keep your eye on the prize and get rid of those things without breaking a sweat, know that it's possible and you can do it and you'll be absolutely fine. So really, really, like the Chariot, just go ahead with what it is that you want to do. Have no fear. Like this tiny snake, it's a worm, really. You've got it covered. And those of you who are kind of in fear of needing to meddle to break things up with any counterparts of yours that might be in a relationship with someone else who you might think is a karmic or call a karmic or that sort of energy, you don't need to do anything. You absolutely don't need to do anything, because I'm very much hearing that they are more than capable and it's already done. These things are already, this thing might still look like it's alive, but it's death throes. It's not going to survive. So it's don't worry about it, basically. Gosh, this is such a full-on, this deck, I can't believe I've spoken so much about life and death. It's so in your face. It's very much like the two archetypes. Well, archetypes is not the right word, but the two most basic things when we're on this planet is like you're born one day and one day you're going to leave this planet again. Anyway, so the challenges, it's the Ace of Wands and the Eight of Wands. I like the fact that there's a mirroring of the words, the Ace and the Eight, the eternity and the new beginning. So it's kind of I'm also hearing the binary. It's kind of the alpha and the one and the zero, the one and the zero. So two sides of, it's again extremes. Now, how's that for mirroring? It's very much about a singular timeline versus eternity. The illusion of duality, when in actual fact it transcends that. It's a bit of a challenge to reconcile and align both of those. Sorry, things are going out of focus. It's a bit of a challenge right now to reconcile both of those things. So the more in alignment you can get, the more accepting you can get, the better. It's from this lack of alignment of and reconciliation between the concept of your place in everything, because it's only a small part of the whole. We don't see everything, so don't try and do too much. In other words, anyone who's feeling like they might be feeling the need to meddle too much, manifest a little bit too many things, or interfere too much, or really interfere with people's free will. That's not really needed right now, and it could be something that could be slowing you down, and it could be causing more of a burden than anything else is the main thing, and creating karma, creating problems. So yeah, just trust that these arrows, it's already been done. You know that everyone knows what the target is. The arrows have already been fired. And what have you guys been doing? Well, I'm so happy to see this card, the Sun, in the upright position. You'll notice that the divine, this came up. This came up with the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords was also there for the Divine Masculine. The Eight of Swords is in the same position as it was for the Divine Masculine reading. But the Sun came up upside down. For you, the Sun is the right way up. And it's testament to, it's in the position of what you guys have been doing well. So I hear from the vast majority of you, in fact, for everyone is exactly where they need to be. You are on track. And you're doing what you need to do. The Sun is shining down on you. You're where you need to be. You're best placed for this eight portal. Even if you are one of these people that think that, yeah, you know what, you're a bit afraid that you might be meddling for, I don't know why I keep needing to use that word. I used it once, I'm just sticking with it. But don't worry about it, because there's going to be so much learning from that, and I don't think the repercussions are going to be really bad. I'm not getting any kind of really bad vibes from it. It just might be an extra, just a little bit of a warning, really. So don't worry about it. Whatever you're doing, don't worry about it, because the Sun is going to illuminate everything for you. Knowledge is there for you. The learning is going to happen. All of your lessons, you are going to learn them. This serpent here really symbolizes the rising of the energy that is going to happen, and the grounding of especially the lower chakras, to do with the body, to do with emotions, to do with manifestation in the physical. All of that is going to be so well starred right now. So really build those foundations, because once those roots are going to be built, they're going to be so solid. Those are going to be the roots of whatever you're going to build on after that, because he's not moving from it. It's a very and it's not restrictive in a bad way. So anyone who's kind of a bit afraid of that, no, it's not restrictive in a bad way at all. It's actually very solid. It's a solid foundation. It's like the trees of the root, the roots of the tree that it needs to put down before it can grow really healthy and huge. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm seeing. That's what keeps him where he is as he travels through the heavens. It's what gives you balance. It's what gives you grounding. Really, really good stuff. But we have got the underlying energies is the Empress, but she is in reverse. So again, there might well be some delays, even though it seems like you've been doing everything right for the most part. This is more like there are still delays. There are still a few little niggling things that need to be addressed, that will be addressed, so that the Empress can come up the right way around. And for some people, it also means you're not believing in things enough, because look at the parallels between these two. Because to me, these are the Empress and the Nine of Pentacles are the twin cards, in the sense most cards in the tarot have a twin. In the major arcana and the minor arcana, a counterpart, an equivalent. So the Nine of Pentacles is what you set out for. But quite frankly, you could be an Empress. So that's what it is. So if just think a little bit bigger, because it is possible to expand, but only after this, because you're doing so well with this Sun energy, this will become clearer afterwards. So there's actually the potential for more. That's what I'm seeing. But maybe you don't see it. So maybe especially anyone who's still a little bit in fear, who's still playing small, who still thinks, really go after the impossible, because this is encouraging you to dream really big. This is a card of absolute indulgence, your wildest dreams. You can't think of anything. I mean, can you picture a cheesier image than some woman draped in silk eating grapes like that? I mean, it's surrounded by riches. It's almost laughable, but that's what you're being encouraged to do, and go for it like full force, because that's what, dream as big as you can. It is a possibility for you. So actually, that's a super, super positive reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much. All of your I'm going to say it again, all of your donations right now, because, I've got my own dreams that I am trying to go for right now, especially with that organic clothing. And yeah, it's honestly, I'm so thrilled that you guys can be part of that journey with me. I will be doing a video on it in the near future. I'll probably know a little bit more next month, be able to tell you a little bit more. But it's very revolutionary. It's very different, and it's more important than ever. Probably more important than you may realize to actually wear kind of organic clothing. So I'm very passionate about that. Thank you so much for your support with everything, and you guys are great. You mean so much to me. Love you lots, and have a great evening and Lionsgate. Bye.